Alright, hear me out for a second. Before we even start this video, I want you to comment right now if you think Loki is joining the Straw Hats or not. And then by the end of the video, let's see if you still feel the same way. Because this is one of those One Piece debates that's already splitting the fandom. Let's settle it with both arguments. Alright, I'll start with the pro side. If Loki ever meets Luffy, there's actually a strong argument he could join the crew. And it starts with one simple idea. Freedom over destiny. Elbaf is built on tradition, pride, and expectations. And Loki. He's not just any giant, he's royalty. Which means his entire life is already written for him. But that's exactly the type of character One Piece loves breaking. Because look at the Straw Hats. They are all people who rejected their assigned roles in life, and now imagine Loki seeing Luffy's crew for the first time. No hierarchy. No royal pressure. Just chaos, laughter, and absolute freedom. That hits different for someone like him. And let's be real, Luffy doesn't recruit normally. He doesn't say, join my crew. He says, you're my friend, and reality adjusts itself. So if Loki experiences that and feels understood for the first time, that's not just admiration. That's recruitment through connection. Loki fits the Straw Hat pattern. Every Straw Hat has one thing in common. They were all stuck in something before joining. Zoro was stuck in duty and reputation. Robin was running from the world. Sanji was trapped by family legacy. Nami was enslaved by obligation. Frankie was burdened by his past. Quick side note. There's only 10 of us here right now, and I genuinely appreciate every single one of you. Even one new subscriber makes me excited to make the next video. So hit that like button, subscribe, and let's reach 1,000 together. With that out of the way, ask yourself, what is Loki stuck in? Elbaf royalty and expectation? That's a perfect Straw Hat origin setup. Power escalation is normal. Some fans say, he's too important, too powerful, too royal to join. But One Piece always escalates the crew over time. If anything, Loki could be the next step in power scaling for the Straw Hats as they enter endgame territory. So from this side of the argument, Loki joining isn't impossible. It's actually consistent with how the story evolves. Now let's shut that down. Because this side has some strong logic too. Just because Loki meets Luffy, and even respects him, that does not equal joining the crew. One Piece is full of characters who like Luffy but never join. Admiration is common. Crew membership is rare. And so far, nothing confirms Loki crosses that line. Loki's role is tied to Elbaf. This is the biggest argument. Loki isn't just a fighter, he's Elbaf royalty, and that matters massively in One Piece storytelling. Because ODA rarely takes major heirs of nations and puts them in the Straw Hats. Instead, he uses them as rulers, allies, political anchors in the world. Think about Vivi, Rebecca, Shirahoshi. They all followed the same pattern. Important royal figure ally, not crew member. Loki fits that pattern much more cleanly. Straw Hats aren't just strong characters added. A lot of people think Straw Hats just collect strong fighters. But that's not true. Every member fills a specific narrative role, not just combat strength. So the real question becomes, what role does Loki fill that the crew actually needs? And right now, there's no clear answer. Which is a huge red flag for recruitment. The parallel path theory makes more sense. Instead of joining, Loki is more likely to become a parallel force. Meaning, he respects Luffy. He fights alongside him when needed. But he leads Elbaf independently. That creates long-term story balance. Two giants of the new era, walking separate paths. That's more impactful than just adding another Straw Hat. Loki already does have a legendary devil fruit. We literally know he killed his own father for it. And that changes everything. Because the writer doesn't just casually write something like that for no reason. A prince murdering a king for a legendary fruit? That sounds way bigger than just strong giant powers. That sounds like mythology-level importance. And if Elbaf is inspired by Norse mythology like most fans believe, then Loki having some ancient legendary fruit tied to gods, dragons, serpents, or world-ending power suddenly becomes very possible. Now compare that to Luffy again. Luffy's fruit turned out to be the human fruit, model, Nika, a power connected to freedom, joy, and liberation. So what if Loki's fruit represents the opposite side of mythological power? Not evil necessarily, but authority, destiny, conquest, royalty, the burden of power itself. That would make their dynamic insane. Because Luffy is somebody who rejects ruling people completely. He doesn't want to conquer anybody. He just wants freedom. Meanwhile, Loki could represent someone born into power, trapped by power, and maybe even corrupted by the expectations that come with it. And honestly, both sides have logic. But here's the real debate question I want you to answer. If Loki meets Luffy and sees true freedom for the first time, does he abandon his throne to chase it? Or does he redefine what it means to rule Elbaf? Because in One Piece, the answer is never just join or don't join. It's always about what kind of person you become after the meeting. Now I want your opinion. Is Loki Straw Hat material? Or future king material? And don't just pick the easy answer. This one's actually debatable.